Elevator inspections, probably a repair. Hopefully it won't be a repair for a while, but
Yeah.
you know, elevators. We'll have filters for
the
the
heat pumps.
HVAC system
Yeah.
that'll have to be replaced annually. We really ought to keep it up. You know, we're gonna have a brand-new building, and we really need to, make the
think
effort
10
to keep it in that condition.
Do you think 10,000 is sufficient in that? Well, we have countryside too,
You have monitoring.
yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, everything new presumably won't break down and will be under warranty to some degree. So maybe it could
Yeah.
probably even come down a little bit. I would not bring down the cleaning because we're doubling the size.
Yes, I know, that's why I upped cleaning.
And I think fuel will be more efficient,
No.
quite a bit more efficient. Actually, the oil piece of it will
be
just be
less.
supplementary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll only really run in the winter.
so I could,
Yeah,
so should I cut that in half maybe?
I think you can get away with that.
Good.
Well, also depends on, who knows what the cost of fuel is going to be.
So drop that to,
Well, we have it at 45, what if I put it at
2,500?
3?
3 is a good number.
And then we'll have a better number.
going forward.
Oh, well, locks and security I have separate anyway. But town office supplies, I put that up because while we don't have any more bathrooms or anything, there'll be a lot more usage. I have a feeling, and people in and out, and bathroom usage and toilet, that's all toilet paper and cleaning and
Yep.
Yeah.
garbage bags and all that. Internet
You saw we
upped a little.
reduced that. Yep.
And then the telephone system, that went up a little bit this year. Okay, about,
Can I ask about the internet? Are we comfortable with how robust our security system is for our internet? I mean, are we constantly,
oh, Pete's on it
okay,
24/7.
as long as he's on it?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
He's-
backed up
He's got
twice a
us
day in
locked
two
down.
locations.
About
If
being
there's
held
a
hostage.
website that he think that,
Yeah.
that thing thinks is, you can't go to, you can't get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very robust.
He's got us locked down.
And we,
And that's part of the software and support line.
Okay.
and he's local, and if in a pinch, he can do whatever. And
Yep.
actually, he's been donating his time for review of the new building and the
Yep.
wiring, interiors.
And he did tell me the other day that he didn't increase our monthly price just because he lives here and he feels obligated to do some of it.
Yeah, so
for-
he's giving his time to
Yeah.
the new building design at this point, which is great.
The town garage, we didn't change anything. We are gonna have to get rid of the fuel tank and put it above ground, the diesel tank.
Where?
At the town garage.
To the garage.
What did they tell us we have to?
Well,
Remove
they've been recommending it for quite a few years.
Yeah, it's at the end of its lifespan. It's 20, almost 30 years old, I believe. And if that starts to leak, then we're gonna be paying
Yeah,
a lot
we're gonna be
more.
in trouble.
So it'll be cheap, doing it above ground will be cheaper.
Well, there's a
The
couple
blow-ins
of,
are-
They'll be able to monitor it better too. They'll be able to know how much equipment uses. The newer
Yeah.
tanks have
yeah, Josh
all
was
this
saying,
fancy stuff.
you can put in a code for each person and each equipment, so it just all goes to the computer.
But it also takes up space on the ground.
Yeah. But this way, it's all contained, so if it does leak, that leak does
Should
It's got a bathtub.
spread, yeah.
Yeah,
And I think didn't we say we were gonna do that in the equipment fund?
Yeah.
Since it is equipment?
Excuse me, Gina, going back one thing, why, with the new town office, which is a big expense, why is cleaning and repairs and maintenance up 75% from last year?
well,
We already
cleaning,
talked
we're gonna
about
have to pay somebody to do twice as much cleaning as they do now.
We're doubling the
We're
footprint.
doubling the size of the building.
Right now, there's well, what had been was a basement that was
Not
unusable.
usable.
And now we're finishing off this site space so we'll have extra office space. It's an emergency operations center.
That's contracted out.
Yes.
We will
Yep.
contract it out, yeah.
What do you pay for cleaning weather?
$140 a week.
For one person?
It's usually 2 people.
And the reason maintenance is going up is we're gonna have an elevator, it's gonna need maintenance every year, just scheduled maintenance, and the HVAC system's gonna need maintenance every year, filters and such.
Didn't realize it was an elevator, it's a 2-story building, right? Elevator? Is that for handicap?
Yep.
Yeah, fully ADA compliant. We are getting
Yeah,
funded.
fine.
Fully on, we got a
Yes,
grant,
we can't
we
use
got a
the
grant for $350,000 to help with it.
So-
Town hall,
What's the extra telephone thing here in the building?
we have internet now in this building. So that's
I
why.
said telephone, so they get mixed up. I'm looking at it.
It's telephone and
In
internet.
internet.
No, I see it.
We now have internet in this building. We didn't before.
Telephone's up 300%, what's that?
Because for this building it is, because we have internet, it's telephone and internet. We do have a telephone line that's connected to the alarm system, the fire alarm. But we also now have internet in this building, which has been needed for a while.
That's just a modem and a router.
It's $130
It's a
a
service.
month to have
It's
service.
$5,500 a year for internet and telephone?
What's that?
$5,400 for telephone?
Oh, are you looking
no.
at the town office or the town hall?
Oh, I see, yeah. Yeah, both, I see. Separate buildings, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the fuel bill for this building is going to be rather high this year.
Yes, the fuel, we've exceeded our budget of fuel in this building
Yeah.
for a couple of years. Okay, on to transfer station. I did, as I said to everybody, the cost of living increase of 2.5%.
Yep.
So that's what that's all based on. I think of anything.
Electric upgrade,
Yes,
that was the big one.
yep.
Which
So-
page are we on? 5?
Yeah, yes.
Page 5.
I don't have the pages in front of me.
Yes, it's page 5.
Oh, the
Top
electric.
of page 5.
Yeah, as you guys know,
Yeah.
we have to
It's all in its
upgrade
own-
the
Yes. We're doing it
electrical
in
for the transfer
phases, right?
station.
We're doing one piece,
We're doing the electrical this year,
and the
and
and the
then
compactor.
compactor will
the
be the
next.
next.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did up electricity there because if we have another compactor, we'll have a higher electric bill. The backhoe payment is the same. Contracted hauling, we kept at 250. And that's about it on that. There's not, mostly it's the electrical upgrade. And then under recycling,
Hauling's the
we
big
did
one.
up recycle hauling because that has gone up significantly.
The recycle hauling, yep.
And organics have gone up a little, quite a bit too.
And hopefully, once we get the new compactor, the hauling fee for recycling will actually drop quite a bit.
Just because you can get more in each
Because
load.
it'll be.
Yeah, it'll be
switched.
compacted. Right
Yeah.
now, it's just all loose,
Yeah, yeah,
and there'll be less loads.
yep.
I think there's something like 60 less loads a year.
And then under hazardous
Yeah,
waste, I kept
it's
Esther's
quite a bit.
wages the same because even if you give her an increase, she'll probably stay within the 16,000.
Who's the one employee under hazardous waste? Is that Candy?
What's that?
Who's the employee under hazardous waste?
Esther.
Esther, that's right.
She did lower the contractor for hazardous waste, and I can't remember why she said she thought it would be lower.
I think she said we got more of a grant,
Yeah,
I want to say. That's all I can think of.
yeah. I'm assuming septage was going to be the same, Shane? The same
Actually,
testing?
we just got the proposal for this next year. Cost estimate just came in. Well, thing is, it's split over 2 years, two fiscal years.
How much is it?
So for next year, I would call it 8,000.
Okay,
Because with all the PFAS testing going around throughout the state, it's just,
yeah.
We're not spreading sewage.
no, we
Not
did.
anymore.
We did for years.
Over
And this
over-
is the site where you are testing it?
Yes,
now?
it was over
Yes.
3 million gallons were spread over a number of years, and as a result, there's PFAS in the groundwater.
Yes.
We just had some testing done recently, and the results are that it's still there. It's not
Right at the end.
being reduced in any significant way.
Where is the field?
It's back behind the transfer station.
You go down below Steve's.
So it's between the
office.
transfer station and the river?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a trail back there.
Right, and in fact, we test on the other side of the river at the condos over,
Boynton, the Riverside condos.
yeah, Riverside
Yes,
condos.
yeah.
We test their water, their drinking water every year, once a year. There's never been any impact. We're just doing that out of cautionary purposes.
Okay, on to parks. So, given that we couldn't ever find anybody to work the 10 hours, they decided to up it to 15, I think, at a little bit of a higher rate for somebody to do grounds maintenance. But they will also be doing they will do all the mowing that the road crew currently does. So the mower will belong to the parks, and they'll do the town office and everything that the road crew, and then the road crew can actually do their road crew work.
The highway department bought the mower, right?
Nope, it got bought out of the Riverside Park Fund.
Okay, great.
Is that a private contractor for the grounds?
No.
No,
it's a
that'd be
person,
a part-time employee.
an employee.
So why did his salary go up 80%?
We're adding more hours to it. We currently don't have anybody in the position because we haven't been able to find anybody to do the position, but we're hoping that if there's more to do and there's more hours.
But just the grounds are the two buildings, right?
No, it's all.
No, all the
Parks.
parks that we own,
Parks, but not cemeteries, just the parks.
just the parks. The
Yep.
cemeteries take care of their own.
Well, I thought you have a private contractor for the parks now, don't you?
Yes, but this will save us a significant amount of money.
Going up 80%.
Yeah.
Yes, it's less than the
Yeah,
contract.
we had 23,000 in contracted services last year, and we've lowered it to
Well, you took it
65.
out of another category.
What's that?
You took it from another
Yes,
category.
yep.
Oh. I don't mean to be nitpicky, but it's close to my heart. It's one of the main town benefits I have. What did you do to tennis court last year for 20,000? It's not a frivolous question.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
The tennis court improvement, that was last year's.
We didn't do it because it was more than $20,000.
Oh, you
They,
didn't do it?
they
Didn't
did
spend
not
it.
do anything to the tennis court because it's gonna cost about
They're doing an
150.
analysis of a much bigger
Now,
deal.
that's something I'm interested in.
It's big money.
It's big.
Yeah, it's it was about $150,000 to redo it.
Is it that outfit out of Grafton?
You're talking about what,
Penguin Park.
No, it's a different,
No.
they're using a company.
It's
private or
it's
something.
called Advantage Tennis.
Yeah.
But,
The design of it.
in addition to the court, the fence also needs to be
Yeah, they did the work 2 years ago, just some surface work and restriping, that was
So is that
11,000.
in the
Yeah.
budget or not? Was 20,000 less than?
It's not,
No,
because they're gonna
it's a capital.
they're gonna do it in their capital plan.
To do what, resurface?
No, rebuild the whole
It needs to be
enterprise.
all ripped up and redone, because it's,
It's a
It's not
huge,
anywhere $150,000.
well, you can go and attend the meeting of the Parks Commission and work with them, but they're getting some proposals on how to make sure that that's a much better court.
Just one court.
I don't know the answer to that.
I think they talked about going to 2.
Because the court's not in bad shape. I mean,
No, but they recognize that it needs to be done, so they're looking at all the options.
just what's, and tennis is a pet interest of mine, so I'm just trying to show you my objectivity.
Yeah, no.
I love a brand new tennis court. I've had a tennis court my whole life. I know what it costs to build and maintain a tennis court. But there are also things the town should be considering, maybe cutting back on, especially when the budget keeps going up and up. There's nothing really being reduced, almost at all. I get it, everything's up. Costs increase, insurance, wages, retaining people, but there's almost nothing in the budget to reduce. But to think of, as much as I would like it personally, to consider adding a new tennis court, just as frivolous when everyone's choking on taxes.
So the
Well-
tennis court decision's not been made. They're
No,
merely
but-
just going and looking at
No, I
what's
know,
involved.
but
So
It's zero now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, is this the area where we have a parks, recreation manager, supervisor, what do they call it? You know,
recreation
for
director.
us, you know, I mean, things like that, if the town's concerned about it, budget increases and taxes, shouldn't those things be considered, pared down, limit other towns, Manchester, Brattleboro, the ones I read about, so one of them closed their swimming pool just because they're trying to show some fiscal, expenditure restraint. But it doesn't seem there's anything in this, tell me if I'm wrong, where there's some effort to reduce rather than increase.
But just the budget line you're talking about is saving $20,000. It's $20,000.
One thing
You're talking about one budget line, and right, that one is, it's down by 100%.
The main service I get from the town is.
Cut by 100%.
No, it's a serious question because in fact, I understand the reasons why, I understand you haven't, reserved enough in the past and all the rest, but the bottom line is you would think there'd be some things, if nothing else to express to the taxpayers that you're trying to reduce rather than increase. I don't see it at all.
Well, I think the Mountain Towns Recreation Program is designed to make our towns more attractive to families, and we don't have a lot of other incentives to get families to come into town, so it's, it's a decision that other voters have made
But
about
you're
it.
only losing people, and some of the towns are, because the taxes are so high. We hear people leaving Vermont, not just because of the town.
We're not gonna solve that problem.
No,
so
I
much.
understand, but do
Yeah.
we need those amenities of, a park? What's the title they use?
Pingree Park? Pingree Park?
No, the,
Mountain Towns Recreational
recreation.
Director.
Mountain Town Recreation.
You're a recreation director.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Recreation director, I mean, do we need a recreation director for 60,000, whatever the number is? To me, that, in a time when we're trying to,
Well, it is paid for by other communities.
Yeah, it's not just.
It's not
one
just
area.
this town that's
There's
paying for it.
4 or 5 towns.
On the revenue side, it's helped out there quite a bit by the other communities.
look, there's an offset to that salary of 60,000?
Absolutely.
Yes, in the mountains.
Proportionally.
It's just like the transfer station. It's an interlocal agreement.
We probably pay 50% of the fee and then other
Oh,
towns.
okay, I can't tell that from here, okay.
It's a shared service. More and more communities are going to shared services because maybe we don't need the big ladder truck, but 5 towns could share a ladder truck. So we're trying to reduce costs, but maintain the service levels that we have to the degree the voters decide that they want them. At town meeting, this is up for discussion.
No, I know, and the 98% of the appropriations are approved. So, I get that.
Well,
The voters are voting for it.
we don't have a whole lot of discussion at town meeting on the budget, and people should.
I know.
But I think they also know that we're pretty thrifty here.
That's true, but keep in mind, And I broke down the whole population statistics for the reason that I want to understand. But even those that are the registered residents who are entitled to vote, you're still getting 7% of the people voting, of which less than 5% decide. So you're right, they're not pushing back, but they're also not very low participation rate.
It seems to be tradition, I mean, that seems to be the standard for most municipalities. It's,
Not that low what I've seen. I've been in a bunch of communities. Anyhow, it is what it is.
All right, we gotta get going because
Yep.
we got.
Yeah, we
planning
got a
commission
lot of stuff to do.
Yes.
So,
Debt service is up a little bit. We swapped out one payment for another from the 2020. International's paid off, but now we have the 25.
We will have debt service the following year from the town office bond.
Yes, yep. And wastewater probably at some point.
Wastewater, probably not till,
26.
probably the summer 26 is when we gotta be done in August of 26. But I think a lot of work will start
Yeah.
in 25.
Dispatching, I haven't even gotten this year's bill yet, so I don't, so 42 is my best guess because it doesn't ever go down.
Is that EMS?
It's Southwest, what's it called?
But it's,
No, you had to ask. It's the
Southwest Mutual Aid.
Fire Mutual Aid.
Yeah, all of the above.
They dispatch all the fire departments and
Yes.
the rescue squad. Conservation Commission is up a little bit, and as Erwin was here last time and asked about the doing the field naturalist program. And he wanted to know if he should be here to defend it tonight, and I said it wasn't necessary.
and it's a 2-year project.
Yes, yes. And I think we'll gain some good data from it. Okay. So roads are up. Wages, that includes, last year we had the $90,000 article, so I added the fourth person in.
Yep.
Even though we don't have a fourth person right now, we're still gonna budget for it.
Yep.
And, we did cut back on the summer highway construction costs. I'm not sure where. You know what? The tree removal part is wrong. That should be 7,500, so that did go up. But otherwise, things don't seem to be getting any cheaper. The price of gravel goes up every year.
Does most of that come from Hunter?
He gets gravel from Shaves as well.
We go out to bid on that.
Yeah, no, this is for gravel,
Oh, the
for
gravel,
the,
sorry.
just gravel for the roads. That's winter sand,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have a special arrangement with these guys for the gravel and all, or do you just get commercial rate, contractor rate, so you get
They give us
full
the-
pricing? What do you?
There's a rate that it's a state standard
State, there's no,
contracted rate. They publish a list and they all stay within that
so there's no.
per yard.
negotiation?
It's the same price no matter which gravel pit they get gravel from.
Is it-
And Shaves, they can go get their own gravel. Hunter has to deliver it because it doesn't come from
That pit.
that pit. It doesn't always come from that pit. Sometimes it comes from their Clarendon pit.
So the huge increase in the wages due to extra,
Last year, we had a special appropriation, $90,000 to add a fourth road crew person. Now it is in the budget.
this is about 50%.
Yeah, because that's an additional person.
And a couple of our road crew members got raises this year as well.
Are And you're still trying to hire another one as well?
Yes, we are.
Yes,
So it'll be 5?
no, 4.
Four.
We're operating on 2.5 right now.
Okay. So if you have the sheriff, which you should because he's contracted to report his hours and time, you don't do it on the road crew, I asked that in my letter.
We do.
You do? Do they have
I get
time sheet?
they have an electronic timesheet, and I know where they've been every day, what materials they've
I asked
used.
that question.
Yeah, I thought I answered that. They do,
Okay. 'cause
they
that's-
give me they have a spreadsheet, and they put in their hours, what they used for salt, sand, gravel, what road they were working on,
Which truck?
Yeah, which
vehicle they used.
Say
and
like
how-
that for lunch.
Huh?
Doesn't say like that for lunch.
No,
You know, I guess same thing there. To have a health insurance, 35% of their wages, I mean, that's just over the charts as far as anything I've ever seen. You know, I hear what you're saying, but it just doesn't, and it's a huge increase, but it's 35%, 52,150. It's, by any metric, I mean, I could look at it and see, I just don't see how that, along with health insurance and retirement plan. I mean, it's just, I'm not hiring road crews, but it just is out of every scale I've ever seen. I mean, that's a huge,
I can show you the compensation survey from the state, from the,
35% just for,
I
salary?
get emails almost every other day from towns advertising for road crew members right now. Just about every community in the state is short of people right now. There's not enough people interested in doing it. Or qualified.
And yet we need more people, there's no way to manage more or put overtime or something. I mean, that's a huge expense, and we're adding when it's so expensive with the salary, benefits, retirement, health insurance.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of work that was not able to get done because we have so
Because our
few
roads
people
have
doing so many.
increased. You know, I mean, our road sizes are what they are. Well, once again, it's just an expansion, more
But
expensive.
this is really an expansion, Barry, because basically they've been at 4, I don't know how long, and now they're only got 2.5. So they're just trying to go back to 4.
The voters.
Have I got that
No,
wrong?
what's it, 3?
Yeah,
The
we had
voters
3.
decided to go to 4.
So you're
for
not.
years we've had 3, which is not adequate, because the road foreman, while he's a working road foreman, spends a lot of time doing paperwork and is not able to be out helping the crew do the actual work.
We can't flag our own projects. We can't have flaggers on either side.
Paperwork does a foreman have, they can't be out doing.
More and more every year.
Yeah.
The state-
When we had the
You should sit down
flood,
and
he
talk to them
spent
sometime.
The state adds
days in
requirements.
our office with our FEMA coordinator, just doing paperwork.
Yeah, just to put it in context, to do the road inventory for FEMA, which he had to be part of, that was almost 24 hours, sitting there with FEMA, with me and him,
They're almost,
and I'm doing it as a volunteer, so.
well, yeah, they're almost, in other words, an administrator couldn't do his paperwork rather than his expertise as a road crew. They have to hire another one for another.
Every year, the state comes up with more paperwork for road foremen to do.
If we want a grant for a road, he has to go out and do all the calculation, measurement, what materials he's gonna need, what culverts he's gonna need, how much stone, how much ditching material.
You know, Barry, along those lines, on a road near us, we don't like the speed limit, okay? We'd like to have it lower, right? So, well, why don't you just make it lower? Well, they gotta go do a study and do it, put out the thing and bang, bang, how many
Yep.
cars went by? And so.
You can't just do it anymore.
What can I say? There's no reason for it as company policy. How's that?
Government, that's
Yeah.
government.
Thank you.
Unwanted and expensive bureaucracy and red tape.
Well, we
I
can't
know.
do this from here.
My mind doesn't work that way, but I get it. It's just very unfortunate because it's all very expensive.
Yes, and prices are not going down on things.
No, they're not.
Um,
We on the winter roads?
Yeah, on equipment maintenance, we went up on that a little bit. We've spent a lot of money on maintenance recently, and tire chains and cutting edges we went up on because Josh is trying to keep he's trying to keep the same amount in stock so that he can have what he needs when they need it, so they don't have to keep running to the auto parts store. And we kept fuel and salt and sand all the same and lowered operating supplies. And then emergency management, asked for the same budget. Beautification asked for the same budget. And that's pretty much it. The rest are appropriations, which are in the warning.
Listen, I haven't seen the road crew. What do they wear for $8,000 in uniforms each year? Are they dressed specially? Do I miss something?
We
They
have a
get
contract.
dirty.
Huh?
They get dirty. They're climbing under trucks.
They don't
Don't they
wear-
clean it, don't they clean it as well?
They have uniforms.
Just
They
uniform.
No, we rent them from UniFirst.
They don't wear their own clothes, they have
No.
their own clothes?
No,
I
they
wouldn't
have to
wear
come
my
and
own
wash
clothes doing that
all the
job.
grease out of their own clothes, so we send it out. You can't expect people to do that.
Nothing designer. It's not designer.
No,
No.
they wear Dickies.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Carhartt, right?
They don't even wear Carhartts, they wear Dickies.
They do get a boot.
They get a boot
Yeah,
allowance
boot allowance
of
every
one
year.
pair of boots a
They have to
year.
be steel toed, everything, so there's a lot of safety precautions that we take.
All right, that concludes my portion. So, I mean, I do have a few changes to make, but in my summary,
So it goes from 1.8 to 2.0, but with the adjustments.
what's that?
Goes from 1.8 to 2.0, but then there's some adjustments in there,
Okay,
right?
I don't know.
Yeah, there was a 70.
Yeah, it was $75 versus,
Yeah, oh, yes,
so it's a
Yep.
$6,000 number.
yep. So, I don't know if you can see this is very tiny.
Is this what we have on the first page?
Yeah, this is
Yep.
this is the tax rate impact and then a comparison to last year. So it's gonna change a little bit, but, we'll be at roughly 62 cents. And this is based on what the working grand list is right now. It could,
62.
the grand list could in all likelihood go
We're
up a
100.
little bit once Jeremiah does all of his
We're 100.
inspections, so we would hope for that,
That's not that bad.
which makes us about 4 cents higher than last year. Yes,
So if I could summarize based on the sheet, the year-over-year increase in taxes would be 204,000, not the 305, if I'm looking at the 2740 versus the 2536.
yeah, the 305, yeah. And
He's talking about, she's saying this real loud.
Yeah, I'm
the
looking,
increase in taxes would be,
isn't it the
That's the
2740
difference in the
versus
budget.
2536?
what's that?
The taxes needed in 2025 is listed at 2740.
Yep,
And taxes that were needed in '24 were 2536.
yes,
So
correct,
that difference is 204.
yes,
Okay. So just putting a wrap on it, so to speak, the year-over-year required increase in taxes would be 8% in terms of tax year to year. And if you break that down and you look at the equipment reserve, the increase in trash hauling, the increase in Champion Fire, and the increase in debt service, that's 105,000. So the 100,000 for all these other services is the increase. So if you break it out, there are other things here and there that you could look at, but at the end of the day, you got 105,000, what seem to be pretty critical increases as part of that tax increase, right?
yes, thank you.
And if you looked at that,
Yes.
it's about 3%, 3.5%.
Yep,
But the 8% increase, is that without appropriations?
It's with.
no, that's with everything all in,
With the appropriations?
Yep.
Because the appropriation is another $750,000.
Right.
When you add it all in under the reserves. You know, I've stressed this before, I mean, I would just think from a PR standpoint, every year you're adding a $400,000 in reserves. Why not, if it's every year, show what your long-term plan is, what the reserves are for, otherwise it just sounds like you don't know how much more you're going to spend, so you keep throwing it into reserve.
We have the capital plan and we have an equipment plan.
Yeah, but it doesn't show, all it shows in the budget is 150,000, highway reserve, equipment fund,
The main reserve is
infrastructure
also
fund.
the
Wouldn't
paving fund.
Just break it, isn't there a plan where it's going every year? 'Cause-
Yes, we have a capital
I haven't
equipment.
seen it, where is it?
On the website.
I don't think it
The
is.
paving plan?
No, the.
No, I mean, all the reserve accounts are going every year, which, it's a huge increase to the budget.
The town buildings reserve, we don't, we just do things as we have money available.
Right.
Not always,
And
there's
this
not
year it's
really
gonna-
a definite plan.
And this year it's gonna help pay for the town office
Yeah.
project, because we have a bond, we have grants of 350,000, but we're gonna have a little bit there that's gonna have to get covered by the reserve fund, which is why we have a reserve fund. It's also building, this building we're holding off on using the reserve fund for this building until we finish up the
Why don't
town
you have a
office.
breakdown for the reserves, because they haven't all been spent, or you're proposing new ones this year, and say how you're budgeting for the reserves when you ask for the appropriation, because, 100,000 to the infrastructure fund, for what, or the highway equipment fund? You must have something in mind of how you expect to spend it, there's no, why not just
Well, we do, but one of the issues that comes up, and it happened this year, that a grant program comes up, and we don't know what's gonna come up in one year. We just got $125,000. Let me finish, please. $125,000 for this building alone, that's gonna help us do windows, insulation, and those sorts of things, so we can apply the monies to other spots. So when those grants come up, we don't know what they're gonna be directed toward necessarily.
The realistic thing from my standpoint, from a business standpoint, it's a contingency. It's a contingency fund. You earmark to certain things and you use it as a contingency for, as you say, whatever comes up. That's what it is.
And one of the issues is that if it were to stay in the general fund, at the end of the year, it goes away, it's not available. It goes to unassigned fund balance. With the reserve funds, we have a continuing fund that is always available for those emergency
Right,
needs.
it's not always being used, but it's adding to it each year.
Yeah, the equipment reserve fund, that needs to be held up, because if we lose the dump truck in the middle of plowing, guess what? We're gonna have to buy a new dump truck.
But if you need it for something else, you apply it to something else, as Shane says. I get it. but
You
it's
can't.
really- it's
No.
Contingency slush.
The highway equipment fund is for highway equipment. The highway improvement reserve fund, that's the one that keeps going up. That's for paving, because we were not budgeting enough for paving.
Well, just to say though, I think using slush fund service is not exactly right.
Contingency.
When this came in, this whole idea, when I was around, I was 14, it came once you came in. And basically, imagine you're coming along here, and you have a road grader, right? And you didn't have it in the budget, right? And it craps out on you. You didn't expect it to, right? And now you got 400,000, 500,000. So here comes this big lump into the budget. And then at the same time, maybe some truck that was on it, blew out its engine. So you had these huge lumps. So they created these funds so that even though you didn't know how much it was going to be, you were ready, so you kind of spread.
Yeah, there's no, eliminating the peaks and valleys of the budget to
Well,
keep
what are the
level
totals?
funded.
So do we know the totals of those funds, that cumulative, that were?
Yep, they'll be in the town report.
They're reported every year in the town report.
Because that should be obviously several $100,000 each.
In some cases.
But it
We
wasn't
have
there
spent
before at
some.
all, so we added to build it in.
We spend the paving budget almost every year.
Yeah, that's not hard to do.
Yeah,
One way to minimize the tax increase, well, I understand what you're saying, at some point, you don't put it in a reserve, and then if you have the
but then we have to
capital,
budget for it. so-
then you increase it the year, because now you said the equipment went, and you have to have the funds to do it when you need it. Here, it's stressing the budget by keeping reserving for things that may or may not happen.
They're gonna happen eventually.
Really? I mean, you're getting new equipment, new fire engine, new trucks, new stuff?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
try to get a new truck every.
We got a new
at least
truck
4 or
and a new
5
backhoe
years.
this year. And we need a new truck, again, another one. And the highway equipment is always gonna need
We
improvement.
should be buying a junk truck every year,
Yeah.
in my view.
Really?
How long does
Yeah.
it last?
Well, because you can get rid of them when they still have value. By the time we get rid of them, they have no value.
You mean, used ones?
We get great pricing on vehicles.
And now it's to the point where we have to order a truck 2 years in advance.
Yeah, it takes that long
Right.
to get them.
The 2-year waiting
The
period.
question is, how much was it when they delivered it?
What they quoted us.
Okay, all right, that's,
All right. Thank you,
good
Tina.
night, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Moving on to 4B, review draft of town meeting warning. Everybody have the new draft in front of you?
I've handed out the new version, and I'll go over the changes from previous. Under Article 3, the lister for a term of 1 year. We'd neglected to put that. I don't know if I mentioned that at the last meeting or not. But that's yeah, actually, it was discussed at the last.
Yeah, that was to
Yeah, yeah.
replace Pat.
Under Article 7, we made the corrections to that where we eliminated Red Cross, Historical Society, we added Londonderry Transport, removed Mountain Valley Health Council. You can see the changes in red and blue.
Did Mountain Valley ever do a petition? When's that due? Or is it-
Today.
Today
Just
was?
as of today.
Yep.
Nothing.
Okay.
So those are the changes there. Again, we show in Article 11, the increase in the Highway Improvement Reserve Fund. Under Article 14, that was the one where there was a discussion about what the percentage of the local option tax would go toward potential for housing. Bob Fisher looked at that because I had mentioned that Article 14 is only if the previous article would pass. He put in some more artful language. Article 14 says, in the event that the vote on Article 3 is in the affirmative, then the question is, then shall the town amend how proceeds generated from local option tax, blah, blah, blah. And so the board should determine what that percentage would be.
And I got the impression that the Housing Commission was going to come here and talk to us, right? You had done the analysis.
That was my impression as well.
Well, was Patty on the phone?
She couldn't, she was having interference and she couldn't hear. I thought Bill was gonna stick around for this, but,
Right, because he's on the committee.
yeah. So I don't know what,
Well, we need to get an answer by next week, by
Yeah.
next Monday.
And well, and before let me just jump quickly to 15 and I'll show you the difference in there. That is similar article language from the town attorney. In the event the vote on Article 14 is in the negative, and shall the town vote to raise and appropriate $5,000 for the Community Economic Improvement Reserve Fund.
And that 5 is just sort of a random number, right?
That's what we've been
That's
using
what
every
we've been
year.
using.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah, this is the third year, I believe.
So, go back to 14, if we could.
yep.
And I did look at the analysis of all the towns. Thank you, Shane, for pulling that together. I'm sure lots of other towns appreciated that.
Just to let you know, what I did is I asked all of the towns that have local option taxes throughout the state what they use them for. Are they dedicated to anything? So I heard back from probably 80% of them, and I was able to share that back with all the communities.
Shane, could I ask?
Ask the chair.
Here's an area where there's some revenue that could reduce the municipal tax rate, which is what we're talking about, the local rate, and you want to allocate away from it. I mean,
There's been a request
That's
from
what
the
the
Housing
Housing
Commission to do that.
The Housing Commission requested that and we get put on the town warning and the people can decide.
I mean, who requested it?
The Housing Commission. Yeah, and there was two different versions of this that were discussed at the previous board meeting, and the previous version said all of the local option tax,
Yeah.
and the board chose to, in a sort of a compromise way, have a percentage of it, and it could be that the voters say 0% or 100%. It's
Yep.
up to the voters to make that
Well,
decision.
why present it to them if it's going to cause money that would flow in as a revenue source and apply it to something else? Just
Because that's it would be the will of the voters to decide whether or not to do that or
That's
not.
the problem. No, I get that, but obviously the will of the voters either isn't being, either they don't care or
People
so
will
few
have
of
strong
them will.
opinions about it.
I mean,
That one will have some
Yeah, there'll be some strong
talk for
opinions.
sure.
Robust
Well, also too, you know, you talked about you want to make the town attractive and with this recreation direction. Well, the option tax is a tax on the businesses. You know, it gets passed on to people who come and want to.
No, the option tax is a tax on the people who buy
Yeah, I
stuff.
understand.
It's
but-
not a tax on businesses. Businesses don't
No,
pay
it's on
that.
people who buy, who come here, meals and beverages.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, at least there's some revenue there, and historically, at least from what I've seen in a few years I've been here, everything is up for appropriations gets passed. And, you know, so if that's the will of the people, that's
Are you-
that's the way it is.
Feel free to bring that up at the town meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
There'll be a lot of discussion in this one.
Is it our job, though, to create the warning with a number there?
Yeah, there has to be
Yes.
a number there.
And that's what
And
we're
that's-
supposed to be discussing now.
Yeah, and at the town meeting, people can say, I want it to be whatever percentage.
Well, we don't.
not proposing a local sales tax.
Yeah, the housing commission was supposed to come up with that percentage. We
Yes.
have not heard from them. They have
It'll
till,
be a nightmare for tax rate calculation. Doing a percentage, I
Can
can tell you
anyone
that.
ask for an appropriation, you can put it on the request?
They have to meet certain stipulation, like,
Well, they could
Well,
ask
process-
for an appropriation.
yeah.
yeah, well, the process is that anybody can request of the select board that they put an article on, and the board can say yes or no, and if it's a no, then they can petition it. You know, this, because it is a committee of the
Yep.
town, I might generally would get more deference.
I'm just,
Yeah.
yep, just a second.
Well, here's the housing commission.
Patty's on the phone. Go ahead, Patty, if you can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear fine.
So we're actually at the article, and we're talking about, this is Article 14, proposed, and we're talking about what the Housing Commission would want us to install in this warning where it says, are applied by, providing that blank percent of revenues generated shall be deposited. What is the Housing Commission recommending there?
We're recommending that 100% of the local option tax go to the Community Economic Improvement Reserve Fund. It's not going to housing, it's going to this Economic Improvement Reserve Fund, of which the select board would have ultimate control, weigh-in and decision-making on how that improvement fund is allocated. And as Shane mentioned, he has received a fair amount of input from other towns in terms of how they are using their local option tax revenue.
Right.
Is that helpful?
Yes, for
Yep.
me, yep.
Thank you. 100%.
excuse me, what the heck is the Community Economic Improvement Reserve? Anyone would have a brain is going to say, what the hell is it?
Well, if you look at Article 12 above, it's talking about how we're adjusting the language of an existing fund to include housing as a purpose of that fund for community development.
At present, the purpose is to support municipal efforts to plan, promote, and implement economic recovery, revitalization, and development efforts in Londonderry.
Exactly, and if you want to translate it to any language you want, that's a general public good, public welfare, whatever we want to do, will fall into that category. I mean, that's-
Such as local match for large grants. So sometimes you have to come up with 10, say 20%.
It's directly a source of revenue that you're taxing other people on, that would go to reduce the tax, and we put it into this, you know, vague, arbitrary community fund. I mean, don't vote for it, fine, but it just seems that there's a concrete way to potentially contribute something to lower the budget, but, you know, that could be used for anything. You can own any project and I can put it into that definition.
Well, only the select board controls the use of the reserve funds.
Yeah.
It's a reserve, another contingency.
And I think it's helpful, and I'm going to ask Patty right now. Patty, should I take a moment to read about the vision and action statement of the Housing Commission relative to this source of funding, or?
Well, again, we don't want to necessarily put the emphasis just on housing.
Right.
So as I believe I heard, you know, the improvement reserve fund is really to provide the town for funds for matching funds for grants they may receive related to infrastructure. I'll give an example. Phase 2 wastewater comes in, and/or phase 1, we have a town obligation to match funds, and we had to do a bond for that. So anything that would enhance the viability and the vitality of the town, and this also includes businesses as well, in terms of, you know, enhancements that can bring more tax revenue essentially to the town, either through more visitors, more purchases.
Yep.
Housing's a key component of that. As you know, we don't have enough workforce housing to staff our businesses and/or municipality as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, well, we'll finalize the town warning on Monday, and
Budget.
Did you want to vote on a number to put in there for the time being, or hold off?
they're asking for 100%. I don't know. Do we want to leave it there, or do we want to lower it? I would say that it has not a very good chance of passing at 100%, but that's just my feeling.
But you could, well then, if it is 100%,
But Tina's also saying if we just do a percentage period, it's gonna be a nightmare for taxes. So,
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know how much the revenue is going to be, so,
well, what I'm getting at is the second part of the article says, the balance of the revenues received shall continue to be deposited. So if it's at 100%, we can get rid of that sentence.
Yeah, you have to eliminate that.
yeah.
So,
Actuals of revenue last year.
we only have 1/4 of revenue right now, which was $10,000.
so, it could be decided tonight or
Because
at
the
the
rooms
next
and
meeting.
meals tax
Maybe when
just
there's a
took
full
effect.
board.
July 1st.
Yeah, we can wait for a full board. We got time.
Patty, we just have Jim and Tom and me here.
Yeah, I see that.
All right, well, we will finish the discussion on the town warning at the next meeting. We're running out of time, and we got 2 more things to talk about quick. 4C, discuss town administrator recruitment process.
Excuse me, Shane, real quick.
Let's address the chair.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's one thing I was going to ask on that page. Why did it, with all the reserves we talked about, why did it increase the reserve fund from 3 to 40? That's over $40,000. There's a reason?
Because that's our capital plan, we have a capital plan.
Oh, I haven't seen it, so I didn't.
That's our paving, we're increasing it
It's our paving
$40,000 a year until we're at, I forget the exact number off the top of my head, but,
Are you paving new roads every year?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did neglect to mention Article 16, that was the Pingree Park Reserve Fund. The Parks Board did meet this last week, and they are requesting a $20,000 be deposited in the Pingree Park Reserve Fund.
All right, moving on to item 4C, discuss town administrator recruitment process.
I did want to mention we have the person from Vermont League of Cities and Towns available by the phone if we want to discuss, what services that they can provide. But in the meantime, Tom and Martha, you may want to just mention what took place, or?
Well, we interviewed 3 out of the 4 candidates that we wanted to, one of them said he had a business obligation, couldn't make the meeting, and since has been unheard of.
Right.
Unheard from.
So
I
that
should
leaves
say.
us at 3.
So we got 3. I believe our recommendation was for the full board to interview all 3.
And so would you want to do it at the regular meeting before or after, or have a special meeting? That would be,
Would you want to do a special meeting for that?
Probably is not
was
a
that?
bad idea.
Probably do a special meeting for that, I would think.
Yeah, because I think we're going to probably want to spend 30 minutes or so, 20 to 30 with each.
I would say special meeting.
Yeah, that's probably the smartest. And we should probably do that sooner than later, next week, if possible, or?
I can make it work next week.
Yep, I can make it work.
All right, and we'll work on planning a meeting for that next week. Do we want to hear from VLCT on their,
I mean, I read it was a proposal, if you will, or sort of a link
yeah,
to some promotional material. It seemed perfectly fine to me. Is it a percent of salary or something?
no, it's a free service
Yeah,
to
so, yeah.
help them in the transition to a new person. Where their question is, at this point, do we want to wait until the board has an individual, or did you want to talk to her ahead of time? It's a pilot program that they're willing to talk through, and it's entirely up to you. I mean, she said, I'll come down today, but I figured I couldn't guarantee a lengthy discussion. So she could come to the next meeting, next regular meeting, and talk further about it.
I would like the in-person one, me personally. If she could come down to a meeting, if she's
Yeah.
willing to.
Good night.
good night.
So,
Can she come to be the fourth individual to come that night when we've got the candidates coming in?
oh, the special meeting night?
That's a good question. I don't know if they want to, I can ask that question. I don't know. I mean, we could ask her right now. She's available.
And one of the candidates, I have a feeling will be on Zoom, because he lives in Portsmouth, New Hampshire right now.
Well, he's going to need to come, the person should come to the town at some point.
I would agree.
I'm just trying to figure out how that's gonna work, if he's gonna be able to get down here for the night.
Well, it could be a daytime.
Right.
Yep. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we talk to him.
Maybe I should give her, she's standing by in case the board wanted to talk to her. I can just tell her, thanks, but no thanks.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 5, new business, 5A, long-term community recovery committee, public meeting advertisement. I got the poster right here that we've worked on. So January 25th, we are hosting it's basically a listening session to get input from the community on any of their ideas going forward. This is January 25th to 2025, 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. And we were hoping to put out a postcard mailer to everyone in town. This is a pretty big event to have everyone's information and ideas given.
I think that'd be a good idea.
So it would be under, I could have done it anyway, it would be under the purchasing policy amount to have a full board approval, but I figure things like this are always good to have approval.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
We were thinking it probably won't be more than $1,000. But if everybody's good with that,
I'm fine with it.
And again, that's to sort of host the meeting and run it.
that's to send out a
Mailer to
postcard
everybody.
mailer so everybody knows.
Which,
$1,000? Really?
We're not sure exactly how much it's gonna
God,
be,
okay.
but to send out a mailer to every
That's
post
fine, that's
office
fine.
box in town.
it's still smart to do the mailer, so
Yeah.
everybody.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're gonna hire that done,
yeah,
because it'll be cheaper than having you do it.
yeah.
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 Or
And
not.
everything's already designed.
Yep, great.
Should be smooth, so.
Okay.
All right. Do we need a motion for that, since it's probably it's gonna be under what we need to approve, but I just figured I'd let you all know.
It's fine.
I'm fine with you moving forward with it.
Perfect. Who wants the last one?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And you will